So thank you for joining us for the April 8th, 2026 regular meeting of the MDD Board of Directors. The time is 4:00 p.m. We'll begin with the roll call. When I call your name, please say here or present. President Laura Kerner.
Here.
Vice President Nicholas DeCiani.
Here.
Secretary Keith Roden is not present. Treasurer Mike Lovelace.
Here.
David Fairhurst.
Here.
Ruben Olvera is not present. And Stephen Robertson.
Present.
With 5 of 7 members present, a quorum is declared.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Is everything? I just want to remind everyone, there is Citizens Police Academy in here at this evening, so we're going to be out of here by 5. But we have a short
Great.
agenda.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Okay. Okay, so next will be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is our citizens to be heard. I have not seen that anyone signed up.
No one signed up.
Moving on to the consent agenda. We have one item on the consent agenda, which is our last meeting minutes. Give you a moment to review them. Does anyone want to remove this item from consent for discussion? All those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? And it passes. Okay, so we have, our first report is going to be the financial investment report for quarter ending March 30th.
March 31st, yes. Good afternoon, board members.
Okay.
So this is the financial and investment report through the second quarter of the fiscal year. And as required by state law and the district's investment policy, this report provides an update on the district's investment activities, portfolio composition, and the overall financial position through that second quarter of the fiscal year. So starting with an overview of the financial performance, through the second quarter, the district has collected approximately $205,000 in sales tax, and we accrued an additional $102,000 for February and March sales. That is still uncollected, hasn't been received by the state comptroller yet. Interest earnings year to date total approximately $75,000. And then on the expenditure side, year-to-date spending is just over $38,000. That's primarily related to the administrative costs for the city management fee, audit services, and legal fees. Based on current trends, I have increased the sales tax revenue projection by about $15,000. And then while interest earnings are trending slightly lower than the earlier year due to changing market conditions, we're still projecting an overall increase to fund balance. $646,000. So at the bottom of that page, you can see the projected ending fund balance is approximately $4.4 million, with $50,000 maintained for operations, and then the remaining amount is available for approved projects. That's $4,359,000. On the next page, it shows the investments. March 31st, the total investment portfolio was $4,005,105. Again, that's in Tex Pool, Texas class, and a small balance at Frost Bank. For this quarter, investments earned $36,211. And then again, for fiscal year to date, it's almost at $75,000. Both investment pools are still performing in line with market benchmarks, but we are seeing a decline in the short-term interest rates compared to the prior quarters. Overall, though, those pools are still competitive compared to U.S. Treasuries. That is my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
No questions. I did have a comment, if we can squeeze that in, but I didn't want to step on anybody's toes if they had questions.
I think
Okay?
we're good.
All right, great. So, like everybody, I'm a little frustrated with our investment income results, knowing that we have to balance liquidity and security and kind of what's appropriate. And so I just did some quick research to figure out, okay, well, if not this, then what? With a way, and I'm not suggesting we pursue something different. I'm just kind of informing everybody, hey, here's some other things out there, and let's make a conscious decision to stay the course, and that's okay. But at least we thought about it. So keep in mind, a 1% rate differential on $1 million for a year is $10,000. So even if we were to go hog wild and do something different with 2 or 3 million, I mean, I know 20 or 30 grand to me personally is a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not life-changing money for the district. But Vanguard has brokered CDs and Vanguard's household name. It's not a fly-by-night operation. And so if we were to do a 1 to 3 month CD, that's 3.9%. That's only just above the average yield on Texas class. And so I thought, okay, well, then to do a little bit of extra work is not really worth the effort. And that's great. That's a good feeling to validate our approach. The farther out you go, yes, the interest rates do go up, but they don't go up dramatically, which again, kind of makes me, it validates our approach and our logic. So if you were to go out as far as 5 years, you only go up to 4.35%. So again, that's not even 1%. It's not even $10,000 on $1 million. So anyway, I just figured by bringing this to everybody's attention, save everybody else from having to do the same mathematical exercise, and bring that to the group. So short answer is, I like where we're at. I feel like interest rates are going to continue to decline depending on what happens minute by minute in the Strait of Hormuz, and we'll see. But for now, this still does feel validating that we are doing the right thing with the funds that we have, so, for whatever that's worth.
Well, you are the treasurer, so I take that. Thank you
There
very
you go,
much.
sure.
And so I appreciate that. That means we have a good investment policy, and we're adjusting appropriately. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure, you bet.
Okay, any other comments or questions on the financial report? Okay. Next item is, I believe it's just verbal, is the strategic planning for MDD funds. Nick, as the subcommittee chair, I will pass it over to you for discussion.
Well, I can tell you that there was a lot of short meetings for the last 90 days, and a couple of longer ones. We have taken the approach that we can't take all of the ideas that were thrown out at the last meeting, called it a workshop, but it was really just a discussion. And we focused on 2 or 3 of them, mainly. The first one was the idea of acquiring some property that we could use for some development that might turn into useful things for the community. And David has done the lion's share of this research, digging through all of the records at the various counties, and because we have 3 of them that we have to deal with. And we've come up with a couple of long shot opportunities and a couple of maybes, which is encouraging. We've talked with several of the property owners. Some of them were not interested. We have talked to, at least I have talked to one developer who said, ooh, wow, that's a good idea, but boy, that's hard. So we have those kinds of comments, and never having done this before, I can tell you there are more things that pop up every time you start digging around. So what we have to do now is just focus on, I think, 1 or 2, no more than 2 opportunities. The other opportunity that we looked at was to take a look at a different approach for a community center, something that isn't quite as grandiose as the Not that it was bad, it just got out of hand. And with the inflation that we experienced for the last 4 years, it was 4 times what we thought we were going to spend. So I think we can do things in a more realistic approach. It may not have all the bells and whistles, but I've talked to at least one developer who said, yeah, we can do that. We just have to have the right place. We have one right place if we work with the city. And that would be the old police. And that's been kicked around multiple times. One of the things we have to do is yet to meet with Scott and Grant over at the city and see if we can do a walkthrough and just get a feel for the building. I've never been in there. I've been told it was terrible, it was falling apart by some people, and I've been told, oh, it's not too bad by some people. So the best way to really see this thing is to go in and look at it yourself. And I think if we can take some pictures along the way, that might even be a good idea. But structurally, I know that we talked with one person from the city a while back offhand. He was not in a meeting. And I brought up the building to him. He was the maintenance manager. And he said, yeah, the building has got some of the best wood in it I've ever seen. It's old growth pine. And he says, if we knock it down, I'm taking it all. So, and I don't think he meant that. But the so what of it is, there may be some structural things that are in a very good way for what we want to do. The idea is, though, to come back with some vision as to what this would look like and put a price tag on it. So those are the two things that at least I'm focused on right now, and I think, Dave, you want to add to that?
Well, go ahead. Well, I just think that that we have an opportunity to look at potential land purchase, and we look very carefully throughout the city at an ideal spot where we can do all the things that the MDD is set up to do, and actually help the MDD for the future, and think about future growth, and look at where we've come from and where we could go to. So I believe that we have kind of a point in time where we have an opportunity that if we were to take it, it would benefit the community immensely. We could do things like a community center, not now, but in the future, if we control what the land is, we could have businesses that we'd like to see and control how they are. We don't want, we would help to, people come in, possibly have a developer that do some other things. Everything would be under our control and focused on positive benefits for the community. So that's something, and I think it's something worthwhile. Like Nick said, we had a few meetings, and we'd like to keep going on. We'll kind of keep investigating it so that we can provide more detail. But I believe it's one of those opportunities that's there, and this is a great time.
And anyone else have a question? I have one, I'll let you go
Okay,
first.
this is third-hand knowledge, so I don't even know if it's accurate or not. I thought I had heard, maybe it was at a city council meeting a few years back, that there was an issue with asbestos in the building. Is that an urban legend?
I think so.
Okay.
You take that question back to city if you
Yeah.
I think that's why we have to go through that.
Sure.
I think there's
Okay.
more concern with mold, but that can,
Yummy. Okay,
but
great.
that can be remedied.
Sure.
It can be fixed.
Okay. All right.
I have a question. So I thought you guys, the committee was taking a different approach. I thought you were going to take a look at all the items we gave you and kind of talk with the lawyer and find out which one of them were viable legally and which ones weren't. Did you get a chance to do that?
We were running with the understanding from the training we got from Dan that we could buy land. And it's in 377. I keep flipping between HOAs and.
Yeah, no, I think, I get that. But I thought the direction was you guys were gonna go schedule a meeting with the
We have-
attorney.
we have
Because
not.
I authorized spend on that.
We have not met with him yet. We
Okay.
wanted to find the property first.
Well, no,
Because-
wasn't focusing on one item, but with the whole list of items. Because we
Yes.
haven't prioritized as a committee which ones we want to go towards.
My committee has.
No, as a board.
As a board, we
As a
have
board,
not.
we've not prioritized which one we want to go towards. I thought you could take a look at the ones that we brainstormed together and have the attorney go through, that's a no-go, that's a doable, these are the constraints, and then come back to us. I'm not saying we don't agree with you with your priorities, we just haven't voted on it.
Right.
And potentially have a plan put together.
Okay, so we failed.
Okay.
We did not
We-
take
we-
that
We got
approach.
off on a tangent then, you know, that happens. I mean, we caught on to something that we spent quite a bit of time on, and we probably lost that particular focus. We wanted to come back and report where we made some significant gains. But we will go back and we will definitely have that meeting with the attorney.
Okay. And I do want to share, I want to ask Jim from the city to give a quick update because I believe there's some pending action before council that involves interaction with us that might involve your committee. So I wanted
Okay.
Jim to give an update, and that might also help guide the next few months, so.
Okay,
Over
yeah,
to you.
so the council we've started on, and the staff we've started, we're actually wrapping up here pretty soon, developing a new strategic plan for the city. We started back in January with public meetings and focus groups and steering committees and stakeholder groups, and some of you are on those groups. Where we landed with the comments and concerns is kind of a three-tier hashing out of how we want to drive the city over the next 5 years or so. Starting with the high-level priorities, there's 6 of those, about 19 goals and about 50 or so objectives that we want to meet. One of the objectives that is started to come to light, and we're still not, we're getting the wording kind of filtered out here, but the gist of it is to develop a community development strategy in partnership with the MDD. So what the steering committee and stakeholders group recognized, excuse me, was there's some very likely alignment between what the MDD wants to accomplish and what the city council wants to accomplish, so how to work together and kind of team up on that. So across all the objectives, there's probably work plans that result in a number of projects or tasks that are going to need resources. We're still we still don't have that work plan fleshed out. We're still at the objective level, but that will be coming soon, and so we'll flesh that out. So I'm happy to take questions.
Is it possible to get the list of objectives that you do have?
Yes, it's on the website
is-
right
it
now.
is.
So if you click on the very that is the actual. Yeah, thanks, Amanda. Those are in the agenda packet for last Thursday night's council meeting. It's also on the web page. If you go on the web page, right on the front banner, there's
Okay.
strategic plan. Just click
I
on
knew
that.
you
It
were
takes
going to
right
have
through
it. I knew you were going to have that, but I didn't see the objectives.
Yeah, yeah.
So for objective 232, since we already pay the city money to be our service provider, could we use some of our money that we're giving you already, or some of your capacity to help take what we have dotted here as ideas and work with our subcommittee to kind of put together our own little strategic plan like that? You guys could write it up for us and just have a draft?
Is it in the MOA?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Work, it's staff work.
And what I would ask is, if you were to do this for us, take a look at the MOA, take a look at the interlocal agreement, and if it's in scope, and if it costs more, let us know. But if it fits within the time and materials you anticipated, I'd like to understand that, just so it's an option, so that you can focus on, like, our committee doesn't have to focus on, like, writing something up. Staff can do that, and we could just,
Well, I think the idea of aligning whatever we come up with what the city is in more need than MDD. MDD is a facilitator in my mind. We're there to help where we can. We've got some things that we have to be careful of within the state of Texas that tells us what we can and can't do. But I think that if we have these 9, 10 ideas that we've pulled together in one meeting, which was just off the top of the heads of the members, board members, we could probably find a few of those, I'm sure, that would align with what the strategic plan would be for the city. And if we can focus our energies on the ones that would work for us to do, we could help the city move things along. The one thing that frustrates me more than anything else is it takes forever to get anything done. I'm not knocking it. There's rules, and we have to follow them. But when you come from corporate, and especially if you had an opportunity to own your own business, you get things done faster. And sometimes you break a little glass, but sometimes you just get it done, and it proves out well. So that's my frustration, personal frustration. And she's heard this more than once.
I have.
So now that I've said it, I'll shut up. But I think that it would be good for us to see what you guys have come up with that survey, because that's an important piece of data. And if there's anything that overlaps and comes close to any of these ideas, we can certainly prioritize the ones that come close.
And I think that's what I was getting at.
Yes.
Is basically, we have these 10 ideas. We could pillarize them, if you will. Like, one pillar can be supporting city projects, and I agree, the projects that would go under there would be aligned very closely to the city's strategic plan. But there might be other pillars in our plan that are targeting projects that aren't driven by the city, right? And those I want to also have on a list. And then we could sit down and, as a group, say, out of all the things on the list, what are the easy wins that we can connect with the city on, and there's quick, or what are the ones we can just start having conversations and marketing or whatever.
Right.
And I think putting it on paper seems like a big task, but we have staff that we have to help us with that. So if they're willing to do it within their contract, I would love to use them.
Our staff, right here.
So besides not finalizing the strategic plan yet, and we're in the middle of the facilities master plan, which will drive these decisions, I think that will be wrapped up maybe in July, I
Okay.
think. Maybe in the meantime, for the district, we can help also facilitate getting the list to legal, having them vet that list first, giving us kind of the yes, you can, no, you can't, yes, you can, here's all the caveats to it, I don't recommend it, whatever, that from legal. Once we have that, then we could maybe
A document.
a plan, like you said, kind of separate them out into city initiatives, natural resource initiatives, or whatever your pillars are gonna be, and then put that plan together for you. And then by that time, hopefully, the strategic plan, the facilities master plan with the city will be done, and then we can start working on that we could actually start collaborating on next fiscal.
I think we're saying the same thing, I think.
Okay.
One, I think the first thing we have to do is, Amanda, if we can set up a time where we get with the attorney from the city, and Scott or maybe one of the assistants to sit in on that, that would be a good start.
So you and I
think.
can work together to set up some of those meetings. Maybe we can schedule even a few of the meetings with you all so that I can help.
Sure.
Maybe to sort of craft, or at least to start the draft. But I can work with you all on that.
I think it's fact-finding first. We want
Right.
to find out whether or not any of these things are no-goes.
Got it.
So- And we find out which ones are easy, which ones are hard. I think I know the ones that are hard. But, yeah, if we can start, I think Laura's recommendation is right on target.
Excellent.
And I think if you have other ideas that come in your head as you're doing this, add them to the list, and/or you read them on the city strategic plan, you want to just throw them in there and just, let's see. Go ahead.
Through the chair, I just, not to dive into the MDD's inner business, but as a person who does a lot of planning work, I know there's a lot of, from experience, I know there's a lot of ideas floating around. I would encourage the MDD to think about the bigger outcomes that you want to achieve and some goals around that, and see how those project ideas line up through that. And maybe do that kind of work as you're working through the attorneys, see what sticks. That might frame up and provide some clarity on what you're trying to
So an example would be one objective would be to maintain property values or something like that. If that's
establish
what
some
we
high
want.
goals,
Or
maybe some objectives.
provide, or encourage businesses in the city that bring value to the whole district.
It's kind of what we
Okay.
said in the last
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that sounds like one of them. I don't know if we have any others, like,
Well, public safety, it's the same songs.
the same size as the city, which is good. That's good. Yeah.
But I mean, what we had talked about initially with property was to do some development so that we had some things that people didn't have to travel to Bernie or travel down to Leon Springs or go wherever to mail a letter, to get a box of screws or whatever. So things like that. That eliminates a lot of travel time, that eliminates a lot of traffic. It saves citizens money. It gives us tax dollars. I mean, those are the kind of benefits we want to see. And the way to do that is park a little something out of the way that people can use.
Well, it sounds like we have a good person chairing this subcommittee. You already came up with some really good ideas right there.
Well, that's what we talked about last meeting.
Right, but I'm just saying is I think you could probably share that with staff and they could put it
Yeah,
in a document for you.
I have my presentation. But I think, just to close on this, I'm with you 100%. Dave, I know you are, because you and I think pretty much alike. We got to get Steve back in after.
Yeah, and I've got my notes
all
from
of
the
this.
strategic planning meetings, and
All of the
what I see in there,
elections.
I think what we look at, it fits already, at least in concept, because that's what everybody talked about.
Yeah, and looking at our list, most of these fit right well with what the city's
Sure.
plans are. So we want to help and support. Any other comments or questions? Okay, well, I'm pretty excited for the direction we're going.
I hope so. I hope we can pull it off. It's pretty daunting. I've done a lot of stuff in this 8 years.
You're not 80. What?
And this one is probably one of the tougher nuts. I could start a business tomorrow, but I don't know if I can do all of this.
Well, thank you for helping with this. So. Any other comments? Okay, that was actually the last agenda item. Okay, thank you for approving.
I haven't been carded in a long time.
Okay, so that was the last item on the agenda. Is there any topics anyone wants to add to a future agenda? If not, if you can't think of any, we will just send it my way. Amanda and I are going to start working on the agenda a little earlier. We're going to try to focus on trying to get the agenda packet out early. Now that our systems are a little bit more supportive of getting out packets early, in July, we're going to attempt to get the packets out to both the committee and post it on the website in advance of the meeting.
Correct.
Because the systems now all support this. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so that's our attempt in July.
Great. Did we have a date for the July meeting? Because I think in months past, in meetings past, that was included in it.
Oh, how did that not get on there? Okay.
I can tell you once.
Yeah, I thought we had them all.
We have a new agenda management system, and it was built in before, but it is scheduled for July 8th.
July 8th. And it was, but now the new agenda thing, it makes it even easier for us to post things and get things done earlier.
Yes, and you all will get actually notification, you all will now get notifications directly from the system, because we can message the agenda packet that way too.
That would be wonderful. And then you will have everything available enough in time to post it before the meeting.
Yes.
Okay, so July 8th. I'm just double checking I haven't double booked anything. I'm good still on July 8th.
And then in case anybody needs it, the next one is October 14th.
Okay.
So July 8th and October 14th.
And was this this agenda packet, it's the first one that we've had in the new system? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
very nice. I could see it's very different.
Mhm.
So I'm so glad. Now we could focus on that. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, hopefully that'll bring better for both the residents and for the board, and we'll get the materials earlier. So that just means check your email all the time. You get these alerts. How does it gonna look like when we get the alert?
So you will get a message from, it's called Civic Clerk Agenda. I don't have anything to show you right now, but it'll show up as a box, and instead of being an attachment, it's a link now that you'll click. So we don't have any issues with emailing large documents or anything.
Yeah,
So
that
you'll
was a
get it as a
problem.
link.
And then
a
we
link.
we click the link. It should be safe because it's coming from you.
Correct.
And then we could just see the packet.
Yes.
And so if you get materials, after you add that link, it'll just be automatically updated when we click on it.
So once we publish an agenda packet, that's it, So if it's going to be included in the packet, then it'll be in the packet. If there's more materials, we'll hand those out as handouts, and we'll usually have extras or we'll display them on the screen if for
Okay.
some reason we don't get it into the packet.
And then I think administratively for the board, if you want materials in the packet, so we could see it in advance, Amanda's gonna probably have to put
Yeah.
out a timeline to make sure this is the deadline where we'll need them, so that she can get it in the packet.
Absolutely, I can send that out, for the July 8th meeting, I would need all materials by this date, so that you all can have that, and I'll send it for both meetings, so that you all know what the deadlines are.
Okay. And then if we set the agenda early enough, then there'll be,
Yes.
okay, so. I think for July, we have to approve the budget, treasurer,
Yes.
so that it could be ready for the September meeting.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, I was going to mention, I won't be here for the July 8th meeting. The quarterly report, it's not required to be formally presented, like where I'm speaking about it. I just have to provide it to you, signed.
Put it in the consent agenda?
Yeah, so it'll be in your agenda packet. You'll still have the same report. I just won't be here to talk about it. And then I will have worked with
Mike.
Mr. Lovelace on the budget, and so he'll be able to present that to the board in July, at the July meeting.
Actually, rather than including the quarterly financial report in the consent agenda, if you'll just let me present that, I'd prefer to do that.
Okay,
And rather than have to push it off of consent to be able.
that's even better.
Great.
Okay, anyone else have anything else? With that, we are adjourned.
Okay. That's a
And for the
record.
record, it's 4:33.
Boom.
Record.
And we had a lot of good conversation.